Hey everyone, welcome. We're excited that you're all here to join us in our discussion about the Rocket.Chat and Pexip partnership. So today we'll be talking about enabling secure on-premise collaboration that includes messaging, voice, and video, and how Rocket.Chat and Pexip is able to deliver that to organizations like yours. So in terms of what we'll be going through, we're going to start out with a little bit of a welcome and introductions. So Peter and I will introduce ourselves, tell us a little bit about who we are, and then each of us will also provide a bit of information on each of our companies. So I'll provide an intro to Rocket.Chat, and Peter will do the same for Pexip. From there, we're gonna go into some use cases of how you can use Rocket.Chat and Pexip again to deliver a highly secure on-prem collaboration solution that includes voice, video, messaging for you, your business partners, your customers, your constituents. Okay. I'll then go into a solution overview, how it works. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to keep it pretty high level. We're going to focus on things that can be enabled right away out of the box with our integration. But we'll also talk a little bit about some of the additional possibilities. Okay. Looks like we have people from all over the place. Thanks for posting everyone's whereabouts. And then at the end, we're gonna finish up with a Q&A session. All right. Okay. So in terms of introductions, again, my name is Chris Skelly, and I head up the product function at Rocket.Chat. So on a daily basis, what I work on, what my team works on, is how we provide more value from the Rocket.Chat platform for our customers, for our community members. At times, that relates to things that we build. At times, that relates to things that are contributed to our open source platform. And at times, like what we're talking about today, we focus on things that we work on with partners that expand our ecosystem, expands the flexibility of how Rocket.Chat can be used in a variety of ways for a variety of solutions. So that's me and who I am. Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Excited to be with you today. So I'm Peter McCarthy, and I run the public sector business here in the U.S. And for us, that's federal government, state and local government, as well as healthcare. And so a lot of different things that I do each and every day. But I think in the end, what we're focused on is, secure, reliable solutions for our customers. And we really focus on the vertical need that they have, that niche, in many cases, custom need that they have for their particular mission.
Terrific. All right. Okay, so a little bit about Rocket.Chat, and like I said, then we'll talk a little bit about Pexip. So I'm sure many people on the phone are very much aware of who we are. But for those who aren't, Rocket.Chat is the world's largest open source communication platform, and we have built and designed Rocket.Chat with data ownership, data sovereignty in mind. So what we focus on is making sure that your organization can own your own data while also being able to customize whatever you need to and be interoperable. So we focus on being able to integrate with everything. Data sovereignty is really important, but you can't put yourself on an island, so you can't communicate with others. You need flexibility, and we focus on making sure that Rocket.Chat is interoperable. So in terms of what we do, what is Rocket.Chat? There are really four pillars to think about. The first is our team collaboration suite, and we provide everything that you need for your team to collaborate in a dynamic messaging environment, and that is really the core of Rocket.Chat. Second pillar, we also make sure that you can communicate and collaborate with other organizations. So through federated communications with other Rocket.Chat workspaces or other Matrix protocol compliant applications, or even through bridges to various walled gardens like a Slack or a Teams, we make sure that when you're participating in your Rocket.Chat workspace, you're able to connect with your suppliers, your contractors, your auditors and lawyers in a secure and controlled way. Okay. The third pillar is connecting with your customers. So that's our omni-channel solution. What we focus on is making sure that you can communicate with your customers, constituents, your community via the channel of their choosing. So that might be through the Rocket.Chat live chat widget. It might be via SMS or WhatsApp, or in this case, might be via video, which is one of the reasons, of course, that we're coordinating and partnering with Pexip. And the fourth piece, we focus on making sure that we can connect Rocket.Chat to your critical apps and workflows, and we do that using Apps Engine. So Apps Engine is our toolkit for you to be able to develop fully encapsulated apps, which can extend the capabilities of Rocket.Chat. So one of the things to keep in mind for a little bit of context, those apps that are created, you can create your own, or you can use existing apps from our marketplace. For the topic today, we actually have created our integration with Pexip as an app. So for those of you who have an existing enterprise Rocket.Chat workspace, you can simply add the app and you will be up and running. Okay. So that's a little bit about Rocket.Chat. We're always open source, always improving. That's what we come to work for every day, and always secure. Okay. Now, in terms of why Rocket.Chat, we all use a variety of different communication platforms on a daily basis. Okay, a lot of those are multi-tenant. A lot of those are SaaS solutions, of course, and they're great tools for specific purposes. But most of them give you very little control in terms of your data ownership, in terms of portability, in terms of overall data retention needs. So we built Rocket.Chat to provide those same flexible capabilities, the same ability to customize, communicate with everyone, while also owning your own data, making sure that your workspace is owned and portable is fundamental and key, and that it's secure at all times, and that it's your own fortress, essentially. That's what we think of Rocket.Chat as. Okay, so that's a little bit about us. I know many of you are already familiar with who we are, but for those who are not, hopefully that's a good introduction. Now let's talk a little bit about Pexip.
Great, thanks, Chris. So who's Pexip? Well, we are a video conferencing company, and we believe we do video like no one else. When it comes to Pexip, what we've really done is we've created a purpose-built video software platform. And that platform is what empowers large organizations, government, healthcare, enterprise around the globe with their operations with video. And today I'm going to talk about four main components of our solution. First and foremost is security. Much like with Rocket.Chat, security is at the core of everything we do with our software. And we apply the same security standards approved by the US military to all of our customers. So all that hard work done by our security and compliance people over the years, that gets passed on to the rest of our customers. Second is scalability. And we often get feedback and comments about how surprised our customers are about how much we can scale. And we can scale to the largest capabilities of our government and enterprise customers around the world. And that's simply because we built the platform to scale. Third, customization. With our comprehensive APIs, we really have the unique ability to customize our product. And that works really well with our new vertical approach around the world, because each customer is different and each customer wants something a little bit different. And we believe with that customization, we can truly help with any workflow in any vertical. And then finally, interoperability. And in public sector, this is something we hear about each and every day, and we're also hearing about it on the enterprise side. We use standards-based technology to interoperate with other collaboration and video tools. There's a lot of different products out there. Each customer typically owns more than one product. We help bring it all together. We help integrate it to really give our customers that turnkey solution. Next slide, please. So security. So I'm going to drill down a little bit more on security because I think it's so important to this discussion. And obviously, this is one of those common bonds that we have with Rocket.Chat. We've spent years building a secure platform, and we've really focused on the highest standards of security in the world. And that's why we are able to architect secure and private video conferencing solutions. And that allows us to operate in air-gapped environments, provides data sovereignty. One of the things we've been hearing a lot about lately is zero trust. Our solution was built way before zero trust was cool, but the great thing is our architecture of our product fits in very well with zero trust environments. And also when it comes to joining meetings, we really take validating and authenticating participants very seriously because we don't want anyone entering into a meeting who's not supposed to be there. And obviously having absolute control over meeting data. This is a big thing all over the world, and we take that very seriously as well.
All right. Thanks, Peter. Very, very helpful. So why have we joined forces? And I think during the discussion so far, I think you have all probably heard a few of the key themes. And what we found, if you were to talk to Peter and I 6 months ago, this wasn't yet on our radar. And in short, the market has come to us. We've had a couple of key drivers out there where a wide array of organizations are looking for integrated voice video messaging. And that need is only growing. And the really important factor is that not all organizations, as we've talked about, have the luxury of using a multi-tenant SaaS solution. So all of these factors that we're all well aware of has really driven the demand. So as the market has really started to come to us to provide, again, an integrated on-prem, in some cases air-gapped solution to provide these capabilities, instead of handling these on a one-off basis, we've really started to align our strategy to make sure that we have an overall integrated toolkit to provide the solutions that each organization needs. Okay. Now government agencies have definitely been at the vanguard of this overall trend. Peter, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing in the public sector, and then I'll talk a little bit about the commercial side.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what's so exciting for me is with Rocket.Chat and Pexip coming together. We see this need with our unique government customers who obviously live in a world of security and live in a world of different clearance levels, and that's why this solution, I think, has such unique value for our government customers. And so what I was a little surprised about, Chris, is the relevancy across the other verticals, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And those trends that you've seen driven by security, regulation, compliance in government, those really hold true across a variety of different industries. Financial services, data retention, having a record of every conversation has been a big driver. Obviously, security is always there. Healthcare, HIPAA requirements, also data retention, the ability to operate in a single pane of glass and have an integrated solution has been a big driver. Utilities and industrials, air gap solutions are needed more and more in these spaces that are dealing with critical infrastructure. So a ton of growth in that area. And then even going as far as ed tech, there's a growing awareness of the need for fortress quality, security, and privacy within ed tech. You're dealing with students and their schedules and really a view into their personal lives. So the overall bar is being raised across all of these industries, which again is an important driver and why we wanted to form this partnership and form our roadmaps and align them to work together to provide an integrated solution. Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit about who we are, why our organizations are working together. Let's dig into a few of the use cases that we'll talk about. So first of all, secure and compliant team collaboration. And I'll give you a couple of examples as we go through the how it works section. Key thing here, we talk a lot about the necessity for using the appropriate channel for the appropriate type of communication and collaboration. So Rocket.Chat, yes, messaging is the core, but if you need to flip over to a VoIP call, we're happy to support that. Anytime your team needs to jump into a video call, we support that. And again, doing that in a way that we have consistent architecture that can be run across the board, fully on-prem, fully air-gapped if needed, is super important. Second part, I want to highlight omni-channel customer communications. Going back to a theme that I think I mentioned a few minutes ago, our objectives for organizations to work with their customers, their constituents, their community members on the channel of their choosing. For us, again, sometimes that is our live chat widget. Sometimes it's social messaging, such as WhatsApp, and sometimes it's voice or video. So being able to meet and work with customers on the channel of their choosing, and also seamlessly switch between channels, is vitally important. Okay, so good example, the ability to be having a patient conversation. So a practitioner, a doctor is having a conversation with a patient in a telehealth setting. Being able to jump into a video call is super important. Having a full record of the details of that call is also required. So that's a little bit of an example of how we're seeing this in the omni-channel space. And then the third item is really important. We've talked about a few of the themes that align Pexip and Rocket.Chat. Another one that we haven't really touched on yet is that both of our organizations, both of our platforms are built with the assumption that in certain cases, we fully expect Rocket.Chat conversations to be embedded in a separate web or mobile app. Same thing, Pexip fully is architected for and expects video conferencing capabilities to be embedded into an existing web or mobile app. It's really essential, the ability to use our platforms in an integrated way to build a fully customized solution is vital. If you have doctors in a hospital who work off a single pane of glass, you don't want to train them on a separate video conferencing tool. You don't want to train them on a separate messaging application. Rocket.Chat and Pexip deliver the capabilities to build those into that single pane of glass that those doctors are using. If you have an officer, operating in theater, and that military personnel, you're not going to retrain them on a new user experience. You need to integrate with the tools that they use out every day, the tools that they depend on for mission critical operations. Okay, so those are a few of the use cases. As I said, I'm going to kind of keep it high level to give you guys an introduction to the capabilities out of the box. We would love to hear from each and every one of you about other scenarios. So, as we go, Peter and I will have our contact information at the end. Please feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear more about some of the specifics of the things that you're interested in doing. Okay, so how it works. 3 steps. Again, we're keeping things basic. We'll go through the steps relating to setting up your workspace and making sure Rocket.Chat and Pexip can talk to each other. Second, I'm going to cover initiating and joining conference calls. And third, we'll talk about recording call history and data in your workspace. A few minutes ago, you probably remember I mentioned data retention requirements probably about 14 times. But this is where this part is really important, and we'll show you how this works out of the box and in a way that your organizations can extend it as needed. Okay. All right. So step one, setting up your workspace. So 3 very basic steps so that you can enable any enterprise Rocket.Chat workspace to immediately work with Pexip. First of all, you have to deploy. You have to deploy in the environment of your choice. So whether that is your own data center or your private cloud, deploy your Rocket.Chat workspace. As always, if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out, and we'll make sure that you're able to do that successfully. Second, apply your enterprise license. If you don't have an enterprise license, you can get one within the application simply by going to the upgrade tab, or you can go to our website and get a 30-day enterprise license. Finally, if you'd like to, we can get you up and running very quickly by spinning up a hosted enterprise trial in minutes, and the URL is located there. One thing to keep in mind, since a lot of this is new, if you choose that route, please ping me. Again, my contact information will be at the end, and we'll make sure that the workspace has access to the capabilities for you to enable this. Within a couple of weeks, all workspaces will. But in the short term, if you choose the SaaS trial, please let me know. Okay. Second step, once you have that workspace up and running, it really is easy peasy. So you go to the marketplace, you search for Pexip, and you'll see the Pexip app. One-click install to go ahead and install that to your workspace. If for any reason you are operating in an air-gapped scenario, there's also an option to download the app and sideload it air-gapped. So as a reminder, again, that's really a key capability for Rocket.Chat and Pexip. If you are operating air-gapped, you can still install the app. Please, again, let us know if you need any help with that. Okay. So once you've installed the app, the third step is simply to point the app to your Pexip server. So same thing, if you have the Pexip server, all you're going to need is essentially the domain name IP to route appropriately. If you don't, I feel confident that Peter will point you in the right direction to get you set up with a server to use as you go through your proof of concept. And again, at the end, we'll have our contact information. Like I said, please feel free to reach out. Okay, so that's step one. Those 3 basic steps. Once you've completed them, Rocket.Chat and Pexip are up and running, communicating with each other, and you can start to use the tools in conjunction with one another. So that leads me to step 2. Clearly, my design team is going to be angry at me for the way I've just dropped all the little components onto the slide, but hopefully it conveys the important information. So out of the box, without any further configuration, you can immediately start to do a few key things. So first, you can start a call. So starting a call from either a direct message conversation or from a channel. Okay, and we've designed this out of the box solution to be a little bit different based on direct messages versus channels, for the simple reason that direct messages tends to be between one-on-ones or between a small group. So when you initiate a direct message conversation, you'll see that the people that you're calling are being called, and then on their side, they will see a call ringer. So they'll see that they have a message coming in from me, or a message coming in from Peter. I'm sorry, a call coming in from me or Peter, and they can accept or decline. That shows up in 2 places for those of you who are familiar with the Rocket.Chat interface. It shows up as a modal, a pop-up, very hard to miss. and then also shows up in the sidebar, as you can see in the dark area there. You can accept or decline from either location. Okay. For someone who is not actively in the app or they're on the mobile app, in each case, you will also receive a push notification telling you that you have an inbound call. You can click on the push notification, and that will enable you to also join from a link in the room. All right. And then the second case, just to make sure everyone is aware of our thinking, for channels, we actually don't initiate the ringer. And the reason for out of the box, and that again, something that can be adapted based on your needs. But out of the box, in channels, we have to remember the channel could have 2 users in it, or it could have 500. So rather than having the ability to initiate an outbound ringer to 500 users, it makes sense to simply initiate the call, notify all users within that room, within the channel, that a call has been initiated, and they can join from the link. Similar to what I was talking about before with direct messages, if one of those users, one of those 500 users, let's say, happens to be on mobile, they will receive a push notification, again, informing them that the call has been initiated. They can click through to the Rocket.Chat app and join from there. Okay. Make sense? Peter, do you think I missed anything there or anything to add on?
No, I think you covered it. I mean, I think people are going to be surprised by the simplicity, and that's kind of a common thread between our two companies, which I think has made things that much easier.
Great. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then third element, again, enabled out of the box right away as soon as you've set up the Pexip app within Rocket.Chat. We record information about each call. So going back to that recurring theme on data retention, record keeping within each of the industries and government use cases that we've talked about. We record as a standard. Think of this as baseline. When a call is started, when it ended, and what participants joined from Rocket.Chat. Over time, this will continue to expand. We do see some use cases where we could have participants joining from Rocket.Chat and then participants joining from other integrated systems or through Pexip directly. Right now, we always record when someone joins from Rocket.Chat. But an example of how this will expand and evolve, we can also collect additional information back from the Pexip API to show other participants who have joined directly or not through Rocket.Chat. So as a starting point, within the room, you see every call that was started, when it ended, and who participated. I'm really excited about this particular area because I do think that we're going to see a lot of expansion and opportunities and creativity in terms of what's recorded back into the room. For example, if an organization decides to use a video recording add-on, then we could potentially post video recordings back into the room as well to allow for async collaboration among members of a channel, for example. Okay. We also, just going to put a pin in this, we display the call history in 2 ways. So it's within the conversation in a room. Not a great illustration on this screenshot because we have to remember that those rooms can be very noisy. So generally those calls are going to be mixed in among a whole bunch of other message content. When that occurs, we also have the call history in a sidebar, what we refer to as our contextual sidebar for those who are familiar with Rocket.Chat, that anytime you can slide that out and you can see a summary of all calls that have occurred relating to that room. Okay. So that's an overview. Like I said, I wanted to keep it pretty high level. A few other notes going back to the use case discussion. We also can work with you and make sure that we support use of video conferencing in our live chat widget. As you know, so people have probably seen in the past, that is a very powerful capability. The ability to be talking to a customer, talking to a patient, talking to a constituent or citizen in a government setting, and be able to switch over to a video call resolve an issue, and also have a full record of the details of that call is vital. So we won't go through that here, but for anyone who's interested in that particular use case, again, please reach out. Peter and I would be happy to help you with that. Okay. And then as I teased before, the embedded solutions are really a growing area, and we'd be happy to work with you. Our implementation partners would be happy to work with you on those different solutions. Okay. All right. So that's my overview. Like I said, high level. I think we probably want to hit a few key takeaways and open up for Q&A. And so Peter, I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So obviously we talked a lot about security, but one of the things I found during the pandemic is there was a lot of waivers given out for security, whether it was a waiver in the healthcare industry for HIPAA because things were moving so fast, or whether it was a waiver for military personnel to work from home. I think what I'm excited about is I feel like we're back to where we should be, where security, the waivers are over, and it's time to get back to security and privacy. And I love what you came up with here, Chris, with conversations without compromise, because we believe so strongly that there was never a time where we had waivers with our products. Securities are always turned on; it's never turned off. So I think that's sort of the first point. I think I can't stress enough the interoperability component, especially with our government customers, who are struggling to figure out this new post-pandemic world of this hybrid workplace, and the interoperability that I think we can provide is very unique in the industry. And then finally, I think the exciting thing about this partnership is we want customers to be able to get up and running easily, and easy to do a pilot. And I think, much like you've shared with me, Chris, about Rocket.Chat, we typically find that once we've done a successful pilot, we can scale very quickly, because for us, every pilot license is an enterprise license. We don't have license keys just for demos or pilots. They're full on production software keys. So I think we want to help get you up and running with this exciting new Rocket.Chat Pexip relationship.
Yeah, great thoughts, Peter. Appreciate it. All right, terrific. So let's. I know we've had a bunch of questions come in, so I'll try to kind of hit them in order. Let's talk through these. In case anyone is unaware, there is a question tab. Please feel free to add questions, and we'll try to hit as many of them as we possibly can. So Gil asked, can you record the actual message chat video, not just the call details? This is a great question, Gil. So a couple of things. Our starting point is essentially start, end, and participant information. But that, as with everything we do, that's been structured as something that is extensible. So a couple of things that will come into play. The short answer is yes, and the slightly longer answer is that there's at this stage a couple of additional steps that will be needed to do that. So within Pexip, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, the call recording capability is done via essentially a third-party app to give organizations the flexibility on which call recording they want to use. So if the call recording app has an appropriate API, then we will be able to work with you to post recordings back to Rocket.Chat. Peter, I'll pause there to make sure I didn't step out of my lane and answer anything incorrectly there in relation to Pexip.
No, that's correct.
Okay, great. And then also, Gil, I think you're asking about the ability to include message and chat information. So a note on that. Pexip has the ability to have its own separate conference messaging. That data is available via API and therefore can be posted back to Rocket.Chat. That will require an extra implementation step. That's the type of thing also our implementation partners are happy to work with you on enabling that. In the future, I'm guessing that will also become a standard option, but it's not a standard option currently. Okay, so hopefully that helped. So that everyone is aware, we also are digging into different options with Pexip for having a Rocket.Chat room drive the messaging interactions within the Pexip overall experience. That is not something that we've moved on yet. It's something that we're looking into. For anybody who believes that that's a core kind of value add for their use case, please let me know. And Peter and I are happy to take that into consideration as we sort out all of our priorities. Okay. Another one real quick. Steve Blackman asked, he said he's not seen the Pexip app in Marketplace. So key item here. We have made sure that the new Pexip app leverages the capabilities of our 5.0 Rocket.Chat platform. So in order to load the Pexip app, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, you will need to be on 5.0. That is a new release. For anyone who's running in a scaled production capacity, what I would recommend, again, reach out to me or your Rocket.Chat or Pexip contacts, and we will make sure that you get a 5.0 POC set up so that you can go through, review, see how everything works as you evaluate whether to apply it to your production environments. Okay. I believe Christian had asked about pricing. So let me talk about the Rocket.Chat side, and then Peter, I'll let you talk about the Pexip side. So our approach on this is we do not want to be adding on additional fees for every feature within Rocket.Chat. So in terms of pricing, the Pexip integration is included as part of our enterprise solution. So anyone with an enterprise license for Rocket.Chat has full access to these capabilities without restriction. There's no additional cost on top of that. And Peter, do you want to talk to the Pexip side from a pricing structure standpoint?
Yeah. So when Pexip's priced independently, we traditionally use a port model. So it's based on the individual enterprise license, but we have a variety of different pricing models. Really depends on the customer use case and obviously what you're really trying to do. So we've become more flexible. COVID showed us flexible pricing models are what our customers are looking for. So we have several different models out there.
Okay, great. All right. So Magnus asked a great question here about how the Pexip integration interacts with the Matrix Federation, which we've also launched with 5.0. Great question. So federated users, when they are participating in a particular direct message or channel within Rocket.Chat, they are treated as users. So the ringing capability will work the ability to join a call will work the same as any other user. Magnus, on the ringing capability, I think we have a few nuances there. So what I'm going to do, I just noted down your name, and also feel free at the end to drop me a note. I'll get you the information on the different cases in terms of ringing functionality across federated Rocket.Chat to Rocket.Chat instances, and then Rocket.Chat to other Matrix protocol compliant clients. And obviously in that last case, we can't control the ringing functionality in another client, but we can use a message the same way that we do with all of the calls sent to them to notify that a call is occurring. Okay, so I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but what I'll do is I'll make sure that we get a more detailed response to you. Okay. Okay, I'm scanning the questions here. So Ruvens asked, hey Ruvens, can Pexip be used as a webinar conference tool, or is it focused only on one-to-one communication and team collaboration? I think the answer on that is yes, absolutely. But Peter, I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether you're seeing those sorts of use cases.
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, certainly the genesis of the product was, one-on-one video, I see you see me, or small to medium-sized groups collaborating. We do have that type of capability with live streaming. So we've really focused a lot on advancing that capability for obviously larger groups, or the ability to reach a much larger group.
All right, great. All right, and Christian asked, will we have a real ringer, including sounds? And the existing Jitsi integration lacks this. You are correct on that, and the answer is yes. But to be clear and specific on it, the ringer capability, the ability to ring through to other participants in order to have them join a call, that is included as part of the new 5.0 video conferencing enterprise capabilities. Okay, so on our free community edition, there will not be a ringer. On the enterprise version, we do have that capability. Okay. All right. How do we ensure that adding Rocket.Chat/Pexip does not simply double the attack surface of the other application? So, I do think that question comes down to the specific use case. One thing that's really important to note is that the interaction that the Rocket.Chat workspace has with Pexip and vice versa is fully controlled by the code within the Pexip app. Okay. There are also a number of different options that can be used related to the Pexip policy file to ensure that. But there is not a core code integration between Rocket.Chat and Pexip. That is all fully encapsulated within the app. And Lori, we'd be happy to dig into that further, and I'd be happy to get the security team to take you through that, since they're much smarter on that particular topic than I am. Okay. Peter, anything to add there? Or?
Nope, nothing to add there. I'll take the next one from Mark Stone. So we do allow multi-tenancy. It's a pretty unique program that we do, and we specifically call it our service provider program as well. And obviously, as you can imagine, this took off during COVID, especially on the healthcare side, where those that had a solution ready to go, obviously were in very high demand. So it's a unique program. Obviously, it has a few stipulations in it, but the answer is yes. We can handle multi-tenancy.
Okay. All right, great. We have two questions about why are we not running the webinar within Rocket.Chat or within Pexip. I love the questions. The summary answer, I guess, is that we do a lot of these webinars. So we try to make sure that our users are educated about new capabilities that are on the way, things that we're working on. We've worked with Livestorm on these for a long time in the webinar capacity. I have no idea if we're going to switch them over to Rocket.Chat and Pexip. Might be a fun shift for us to make. But quick shout out to Livestorm for these webinar settings. It's been a great venue for us. Okay. And then we had one last question relating to deployment and integration documentation. So please refer to our Rocket.Chat documentation for information on the app. Again, if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. Revens, who asked that question, I know you're in touch with the core team quite a bit, so feel free to schedule time, and we'll make sure that you get all of the information that you need. Okay.
We also, Chris, have actually, of all the companies I've ever worked for, we do documentation better than I've ever seen. So kudos to the folks that do that. So ours is at docs.pexip.com. If you have some extra time this weekend, there's a lot there.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to jump ahead. I think that we've hit all of the questions in there. And so time for a poll. Would you like to know more about the integration between Rocket.Chat and Pexip? I think Manuela will tee up that poll. Please answer that, and that way we'll know if you're interested in learning more from there. And finally, we've already covered Q&A, so I'm going to jump down to our contact information. As we proceed, as you guys dig into your evaluation, your proof of concept, or even just thinking about your use case, feel free to reach out to us. So that's my info there and Peter's. We are happy to talk with you, get your feedback, and where necessary, route you to the appropriate teams to provide the details that you need, whether they're security related or deployment related or support related. Please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll make sure that you get the answers that you need. All right. Okay, so I think that's all we have. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Pexip team, for all of the hard work that you've put into this, and we're looking forward to seeing all of the creative things that people do with our combined solution.
Thanks very much.
Thanks all.